The knives are out in London, and I don't just mean metaphorically. We are looking at a potential palace coup that could redefine the British left, while just down the road, the crown jewels, the very symbol of the monarchy, have come under a bizarre and sticky attack. Across the Channel, Germany is making moves that haven't been seen in decades, asking a new generation to prepare for war, and the backlash is spilling into the streets. And in the United States, we are witnessing a policy shift so profound it challenges the very definition of what it means to be a citizen. But trust me, you are going to want to stay until the very end of this episode, because the reports coming out of Washington regarding naturalization are going to shake the foundations of immigration law. I used to sit in the editorial meetings of one of the biggest media conglomerates in the world. I watched as complex, nuanced stories were fed into a grinder and churned out as simple, prepackaged narratives designed to tell you what to think, not what to know. I couldn't stomach the script anymore, so I walked away. Now I'm here, completely independent, beholden to no corporate board, simply to tell you the truth as I see it and help you connect the dots that they leave unconnected. Shutterstock. But independence comes at a cost. Doing this job, digging through the noise, fact-checking the official lines, and bringing you the raw reality is hard, grinding work. We don't have the massive safety nets the big networks do. So I'm asking you, if you value a voice that refuses to echo the establishment, please click that subscribe button. And if you can, consider supporting us directly. Your sponsorship isn't just a donation, it's a vote for integrity in a world of spin. It keeps us online and it keeps us honest. Now let's get into the story that the establishment in Westminster is desperately trying to downplay. In the shadowed halls of British power, a drama is unfolding that feels less like modern politics and more like a Shakespearean tragedy. While Prime Minister Keir Starmer tries to project stability, his own generals are reportedly plotting his exit. We are hearing distinct whispers about Health Secretary Wes Streeting and Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner. The word on the street is that Streeting's allies have been conducting secret back-channel talks with Rayner, proposing a joint ticket, a pact of unity designed to seize the reins of the Labour Party. The offer on the table? It's heavy. We're talking about promises of high-level cabinet positions, a guaranteed return to the Deputy PM role, or even a life peerage if she backs Streeting's bid for the top job. Why would they do this? It comes down to cold, hard numbers. The internal polling for Starmer is looking absolutely catastrophic. In a direct face-off, Starmer would reportedly crumble against Rayner, pulling in only 33% of the vote compared to her 52%. That is a 19-point gap, a chasm that usually signals the end of a leadership. But here is the nuance. Streeting, who represents the right of centre wing, knows he cannot win the membership on his own. He isn't popular enough. Rayner, with her strong ties to the left and the unions, has the popularity but perhaps lacks the establishment backing Streeting enjoys. It's a marriage of convenience. As one insider put it, they are offering a peace treaty because they know Starmer is a sinking ship. Of course, publicly, the denials are flying fast and furious. Streeting's team is calling this silly season gossip, claiming he is solely focused on getting the National Health Service through the winter. Rayner's camp insists there is no vacancy and no pact. But look at the context. Labour's support with the broader electorate is hovering at a dismal 18%, lagging significantly behind Nigel Farage's Reform UK. When the captain is polling that low, the crew starts looking for the lifeboats, or looking to throw the captain overboard. The political sharks are circling, and usually when there is this much smoke in Westminster, there is a fire burning somewhere in the back rooms. But while the politicians are plotting with words, others are taking action with, well, dessert. While the suits in Parliament play their games, the symbols of the state are under physical attack. We saw a surreal scene at the Tower of London this morning. 4 activists were arrested after storming the display of the state crown, the centerpiece of the crown jewels, and launching a mixture of crumbs and custard at the protective glass. This happened just before 10 a.m., right as the tourist crowds were filing in. They rushed the case and threw what police are officially calling suspicious food at the display. It sounds ridiculous, I know, assault by pastry, but the implications for security at one of the most secure sites in the nation are serious. 2 of the group tried to flee into the crowd, but security and police locked the place down fast. All four were apprehended on suspicion of criminal damage. The group responsible claims this was a protest against high taxes, which is a sentiment many can understand, even if the method involves wasting good custard. The tower, which houses billions of pounds worth of history, had to be evacuated and closed for the investigation. This isn't an isolated event. We are seeing a trend where historical artifacts and national symbols become the canvas for frustration. Whether it's soup on paintings or custard on crowns, the message is clear. The boundaries of protest are shifting, and the frustration is boiling over in increasingly bizarre ways. And speaking of bizarre spectacles involving the monarchy, we have to talk about the royal family's favorite exile. Prince Harry is back on the American talk show circuit, and once again, he is not holding back. Appearing on The Late Show, he compared his life in the royal family to the television show Downton Abbey. It was meant as a joke, but for many observers back in Britain, it landed with a thud. But is he just joking, or is there a deeper strategy at play here? Harry's comparison might have been intended to be light-hearted, but it underscores the persistent narrative he's pushing, the idea of the spare, the extra, the prop in a grand production. He doubled down on his claim that he isn't trying to destroy the monarchy, but rather to save them from themselves. That is a bold position to take. The man who left the institution claims to be the only one who sees the trap they are all in. He spoke about the trauma of being the spare and his fear of who the media will target next. It's a mix of genuine concern and what critics call immense arrogance. He also admitted that reconciliation isn't on the cards anytime soon, dropping a line that feels almost prophetic. "You might not like me now, but maybe you'll thank me in 5 or 10 years. He recounted returning to Frogmore Cottage in 2019 to find Meghan in tears, a reminder of the personal toll this public battle has taken. Whether you view him as a whistleblower or a traitor to his family, one thing is undeniable. Harry is keeping the wound open. He refuses to let the institution return to business as usual. But while Harry fights his family battles, a much more literal fight is brewing on the continent, one that involves millions of young people. If you thought the era of the draft in Europe was over, think again. In Berlin, the streets are filling with protesters, about 3,000 of them, pushing back against a new law that signals a massive shift in German defense policy. The Bundestag has voted to bring back a form of conscription. This isn't a drill. The vote was 323 to 272. The government is terrified that the conflict in the east could spill over, and they are scrambling to boost the Bundeswehr's numbers from 183,000 to 260,000, plus a massive reserve force by 2035. Here is how it works. It's a tiered system. They are going to try to lure young people in with better pay and voluntary service first. But the legislation has teeth. If they don't get the volunteers, the parliament now has the power to trigger mandatory conscription. And for the first time since 2011, every man born after 2008 will have to undergo medical screenings. The young generation is furious. You have 18-year-olds holding signs saying, "Why should we fight for a country that ignores our future?" They point to underfunded schools, a lack of climate action, and a pension system that won't be there for them. They feel the social contract has been broken. And this isn't just Germany. From Scandinavia to France, nations are waking up to a new reality where military service is back on the table. The peace dividend of the last 30 years is gone. But while Europe tries to figure out who belongs in its armies, the United States is grappling with a question that is even more fundamental. Who gets to be an American at all? This is the story I told you to wait for, because the implications are staggering. The incoming administration of Donald Trump is reportedly preparing a campaign that goes beyond border walls or deportations of undocumented migrants. We are talking about denaturalization. The president has stated that his team is investigating whether they have the legal authority to strip U.S. citizenship from naturalized immigrants who have been convicted of crimes. Speaking from Air Force One, Trump was blunt. He believes criminals have slipped through the vetting process and obtained citizenship fraudulently. His words were precise. "If I have the authority, I will denaturalize." Absolutely. This is uncharted territory. Under current U.S. law, stripping citizenship is incredibly difficult. You usually have to prove that the person lied or committed fraud during the application process. Simply committing a crime after you become a citizen has not, historically, been grounds for losing your status. That's what makes citizenship permanent. But Trump's team, alongside figures like Matt Walsh, are pushing for a historic campaign of denaturalization. They are already pausing the processing of applications from Afghanistan and ordering deep reviews of green cards from high-risk nations. The message is clear. Citizenship might not be as permanent as we thought. For millions of naturalized Americans, this introduces a level of uncertainty that hasn't existed in generations. It challenges the bedrock legal principle that once you are a citizen, you are equal to someone born on U.S. soil. If the administration finds a Lega, this is a world in flux. In London, political loyalty is up for sale. In Berlin, the youth are being measured for uniforms. And in Washington, the permanence of citizenship is being stress-tested. It's a lot to process, and that is why we are here, to keep watching when others look away. If you found value in this analysis, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help us fight the algorithm. And let me know in the comments. Do you think stripping citizenship for crimes is a necessary security measure or a dangerous precedent? I want to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep your eyes open. We've traveled from the backrooms of Westminster to the draft offices of Berlin and the border policies of Washington. Connecting these dots isn't something the big networks are interested in doing anymore. They want sound bites, not understanding. That's why I left that world, and that's why I'm here. But I have to be honest with you. Staying independent is a constant battle. We don't have corporate overlords cutting checks. We have to dig for every single fact ourselves, sifting through mountains of noise to make sure we aren't feeding you the same fake narratives as everyone else. It is grueling, exhausting work, but it is the only work that matters. If you value this, if you value having a voice that looks you in the eye and tells you the truth, however uncomfortable, then I need your help. Please hit that like button and subscribe. It's the only way we fight their algorithms. And if you have the means, I'm asking you to consider becoming a sponsor of this channel. When you support us, you aren't just making a donation, you are actively funding the line of defense against misinformation. You are the reason we can keep the lights on, keep the research deep, and keep the questions coming. Thank you for trusting us with your time and for standing with us.